What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. It's been a while since I've made a video, man? Y'all haven't seen me in a long time. Man, it's been like 8, 9, 10 months or something like that. But look, I've just been sort of busy, man. You know how life is. Life just sort of happens. I'm in barber school, and that has taken a lot of my time. This is my future career. I'm really focused in on that. I'm trying to give it my all. So I've got that going on, and that's keeping me really busy. And I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? I've loved every second I've been in barber school. It's been a great decision for me. I'm super excited to graduate here in April. It's coming up really soon. But a lot of things have been going on. You know how life is. Things just are always happening. But I wanted to tell you guys that I've got a new puppy. Okay, I'm super excited about it. I got her actually a couple months ago. I named her Goldie, or really me and the kids together, we named the dog Goldie, but she's a 7 or 8 month old blue heeler puppy. And she's a great dog, very high energy, very food motivated. You know, she's got a high prey drive. She's very fun to be around and to play with and stuff like that. My kids love her. And it's just been a great little addition into my household, into my family unit, this little tiny puppy, because I lost a dog a couple years ago, and I didn't think I was ever going to get another dog. But then this opportunity presented itself, and I went for it, bro, and I've been loving it. And people love dogs, bro. Have you ever thought about why people love dogs? Because it's not necessarily obvious why people love dogs, you know what I mean? Because dogs, it's another responsibility. You're responsible for another life when you get a dog. And dogs, even though we love to rant and rave about man's best friend, about how smart these animals are, really, dogs are pretty stupid. They say that dogs are intelligent. They rank dog intelligence by trainability, right? So it's not necessarily that the dog is problem solving and shit like this. It's just that you can train the dog, so it must be a little smart, right? But think about it. Dogs, they're just dumb, dude. They'll eat anything. They chew up everything. They pee and poop everywhere. They get into your shit and make a mess. You know what I mean? Like, they're annoying. They're dumb, if you're just being honest about it. And they're expensive, bro. Especially if you want to feed your dog properly and take it to the vet properly. These things are expensive. You know what I mean? It's not as expensive as like having a human child, but it gets expensive, bro. Vet bills are no joke, and they tend to blindside people, right? Despite all of that, people still love dogs. Just love dogs. Everybody, it seems like, has got a dog or has had a dog at some point in their life. And even though all of that stuff I just said about dogs, it's pretty easy to see why people love dogs, right? One of the main reasons why people like dogs so much is because of the unconditional love you get from your canine companion, right? Every time that you walk in that door, it doesn't matter if you've only been gone for 2 minutes. The dog doesn't really have a sense of time like that, or it seems. It thinks you've been gone forever. Every time you get back, it's like a huge celebration for the dog. They're so excited to see you. They run up to you, they're barking, they're wagging their tail, they're trying to jump on you and lick your face, and they're like, dude, where have you been my whole life? I love you. You know what I mean? And people love that about the dog. You can even, don't do this though, or I'll hunt you down, but you can even beat your dog, and the dog will still love you. The dog will still be super excited to see you every day when you get home, even though you beat the dog, even though you yell at the dog and call it all sorts of mean names and stuff like this. The dog doesn't care. The dog just loves you, right? That's one reason why people like dogs. Another reason is because the dog is so selfless. Just like the unconditional love that the dog can give you, the dog gives you a selfless kind of love. And there are many, many heartwarming stories about dogs who have sacrificed their lives for their human companions, you know what I mean? Or who have protected the household against intruders or would-be bad guys and stuff like this. And dogs, they are people's emotional service animals, right? And also people with certain physical disabilities, dogs help them out, and the dog just does that, bro. The dog does its job. It's built into the dog genetically to perform these sorts of things, right? And with training, the dog can exceed all expectations. Dogs, they're a beautiful thing, and you can learn a lot from a dog, okay? And what I mean is, I'm talking about spiritually. You can learn a lot spiritually just by sort of observing your dog and observing the relationship that you have with your dog, the dynamic sort of between master and dog, right? Or owner and dog. Sort of like what I'm saying is that the dog sort of shows you your position as far as God is concerned. The dog shows you how to be a loyal servant of God, all right? Because think about it. The dog is basically, more or less, totally dependent on you. I guess, it depends on the type of dog. Like if you have a Shih Tzu, this thing can't do anything for itself. If you left it outside for a week, it's going to die. It won't be able to do anything, right? Whereas other dogs, more wild dogs like blue heelers, they'll fend for themselves. If you don't put water in the bowl, this thing is going to find water, bro. It'll get in the cabinets and pull out food, or get in the pantry. It'll jump up on the counter. It's going to feed itself, right? You don't necessarily have to feed the dog. If it was left alone, it can fend for itself, right? But even so, most dogs are pretty dependent on their master, or pretty dependent on their owner for life, okay? For the basic necessities of life. And believe it or not, you and I are dependent on God, who makes all of this possible, for all of the same things, right? Now, humans and dogs, we sort of exist in different dimensions, right? A dog is a dog. A dog lives in a dog's world. A human is a human, and we live in a human world. We see things as a human sees things, right? We comprehend things as a human comprehends things. And the dog is removed from that. The dog has no hopes of ever being able to see the world how a human sees the world, okay? And that's true with you and I and God as well. You see the world how a human sees the world. God sees the world how God sees the world. And the way that we see the world and the way that God perceives the world are very, very different, right? We cannot comprehend the thoughts of God. We cannot comprehend or see into the mind of God, right? And even if you could, none of it would make sense for you anyway. You just wouldn't be able to comprehend that state. You know what I'm saying? That state of being. And that's true about the dog and the human as well, right? Now, one of my pet peeves about dogs is I hate a begging dog, okay? I hate it when a dog begs for food, which is very ignorant, okay? But really, that was impressed upon me by my father. My father hates a begging dog. And when I was young, we had a dog, and he made sure that this dog did not beg for food, okay? And so that just, for some reason, that sort of stuck with me, and I've always hated a dog that begs for food. Even though, when I think about it rationally and logically, begging for food is built right into the dog at a genetic level, right? For tens of thousands of years, human beings domesticated dogs from wolves, right? And the way we did that was by feeding them scraps of food from around the fire. And we first started training wolves and dogs by giving them food and having them beg for food. So it's literally built into the dog. The dog is supposed to beg for food, right? It's supposed to do that. Now, when the dog begs for food, it just sits there and it watches you eat your food. It sees you enjoying all the yummy goodness of human cuisine, and it really, really wants some, okay? It wants some really bad. But if you don't give the dog any of your food, it's not going to judge you because of that. It's not going to feel bad or hold a grudge against you and be like, oh, stupid human, never gives me their food. Oh, I hate you now. Get away from me, right? The dog doesn't do that. The dog is just fine if you don't give it a bite, but it's going to wait there for you just in case you decide you're in a good enough mood to drop a little bit of bacon in its mouth or whatever it is, right? But the dog isn't going to be hurt. But the dog wants everything that you have, especially if you got a dog like mine. This thing is constantly begging. Even when I don't have food in my hands, it's just a random object. This dog thinks that it's food and is going to try to eat it if I put it down close enough to its mouth, right? And this is sort of like how you should be with God as well. Like, people pray to God all the time and ask for all sorts of things, right? Just like anything, even stupid things that you would normally think like, dude, you just don't pray about that, right? People pray about that. They ask God for the most ridiculous things, okay? And we're all just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And that's how you should be with God. You should be there prostrating yourself, hands held out for whatever God may bless you with, right? But God may not bless you this day. That just might not be in God's will, and you just sort of have to accept that. You can't hold a grudge against God and say, oh, God, you never answer my prayers. You never do anything good for me. You never give me anything that I ask for or anything that I'm begging you for, and now I hate you, right? That's not really how it works. You should be like a dog, because you sort of are a dog, according or comparably to God anyway. You're more like a worm, but we'll say you're like a dog. You can beg. That's in your nature, to beg for things from God, right? But don't be mad when you don't get them. Don't be upset when those things aren't delivered to you exactly when and how you ask for them to be. Just go on about your way and continue loving God unconditionally. And that's what a dog does. If a dog can do it, you can do it, right? Maybe not, because dogs are much more simple creatures than us, very complex, nuanced beings called humans, right? But I just wanted to put this in your brain, have you think about this, right? Just like in the old days, I don't ever want you to be sitting there bored at home with nothing to think about or nothing to do. Just think about this. Meditate on the relationship between dogs and human beings, and you can see sort of the parallels. You can learn something from a dog, right? Just like you can learn something from a plant. Look at the trees out here, outstretched. Branches outstretched, reaching toward heaven, begging for, I'm just kidding, right? The plants don't beg, they just receive. They just have their arms open, wide open, ready to receive. And that's exactly how you should be as well in regards to your relationship with God. You should be there, outstretched arms in praise, offering up your praises, and also ready to receive your blessing. You can learn that from a plant. If you just go meditate on the tree, if you just go meditate on the relationship between dogs and humans, you can learn a lot about the relationship between humans and God in a totally faith-based manner, right? Where you drop everything you have to live by faith to be like a dog, but be like a dog, bro. Huh? Anyway, man, until next time, I hope you continue to free your